Good evening, everyone. Welcome to New York Yankee Mania. How you doing tonight? I'm sure we're not in a good mood. The game, well, it spoke volumes in the beginning of the game. First of all, I want to say hello to everyone. Thank you for watching the live pregame show. Please give the likes and also definitely subscribe as the channel keeps growing. We need your support, and hopefully, I'm going to have a few co-hosts and maybe a fan or two on with us to discuss this game. There's not really that much to discuss. It was a little nail biter at the end. It gave us a little hope, but the same old usual thing. If the Yankees don't hit a home run, they don't score. They looked to me a little sluggish. Clark Smith was not on his game at all tonight. He was absolutely awful. He went 4 innings, seven hits, 7 Ks, which was incredible when they didn't need it after he gave up the 5 earned runs. Gomez pitched pretty decent. Also, Yarborough, he's been an unsung hero too in that lineup. But the bottom line is, we the Yankees. It's the same old story all the time. They don't manufacture runs all that much. They were doing it a little bit. Bellinger, he finally got a hit tonight. He finally put the ball in the outfield. But let's get some comments from our crack staff here. I'm going to bring in Ken from Ugly Truth. How you doing, Ken? Hope all is well. Sean, I'm going to bring in as a fan and a contributor to New York Yankee Mania. And last but not least, I'm bringing in Jonathan. How you doing, big guy? And if you got another story for us, make us feel good, you got it.
I would watch.
So how you doing, Ken? You were what?
Frozen.
Ken froze.
Yeah, he froze. We'll try to bring him back. So guys, what were your thoughts on the game? They gave us a little thrill at the end, but if it's not for the home run, they don't do anything.
Yeah, the Yankees have to. I know the Yankees in the last many years have been built for the home run, but they have to stop thinking about the fences every single at bat. There are players, for example, Jazz Chisholm is not someone who should think about the home run every time. Chisholm, yeah, if he can give you 20, 25, even 30 home runs, that's nice. But he should focus on just getting on base. Judge should be a little bit more patient. That last at bat was horrible. When he struck out, he just swung at a ball in the lefties. It was out of the zone.
They're worried so much with the umpires. They're worried too much with the umpires.
They need to be. Today they weren't very patient at the plate. They didn't work the starting pitcher.
No, they weren't.
No,
it was totally. I think we have Ken back. Let's give it a try.
Yeah.
Hey, Ken. How you doing, big guy? I'm sure we're not happy.
Well, that was an interesting game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really was. Without a doubt. I think
some of those
calls
were ridiculous, but I think Boone was about to get thrown out during that judge at that.
Yeah.
Because after Wells got rung up, which was a good call.
I don't know about you guys, but I thought Clark Smith was very hittable tonight.
Yeah,
I mean,
Schmidt Schmidt had no game today.
Well,
He was
As
not
I
on-
said, he doesn't pitch well in that stadium. He has a bad history in that stadium. He's given up big hits. He's given up a lot. And I knew it when Ramirez flied out the first time. It never fails. I knew the next time he was up, he was going to homer. It just happens. You get that feeling. You watch so many ball games in your life. You know it. You know these things.
on the Ramirez at bat. I don't like that he even went inside. He should have stayed away from Ramirez the whole at bat.
yeah, I mean,
Given
it was
nothing on the inside.
a good
Yeah.
pitch on the inside, but a better swing by Ramirez.
Well, you expect that from Ramirez.
Yeah,
And Ramirez is not someone where you can pitch him inside and he will miss the ball very often. Many
Right.
times that ball will go into the outfield. It's either a hit or it's either over the fences or caught.
yeah. But the following pitch, to the guy behind Ramirez, that was a meatball down the middle.
Oh yeah, no question about it.
That was like middle.
Yeah,
Here you go.
Yeah, it's like, here's my fastball. Why don't you hit it? And that and that was ridiculous. That was Mazzano, the DH. He creamed that one, but it's horrible. I mean, the same guys just torture the Yankees. I mean, I know Ramirez does that a lot. We understand that. He's a great player, and there's no question about that. But, it's the same thing. Nothing ever changes. It seems like they just can't adjust. They concentrate on this, on that, and this and that, but they don't concentrate. Where's the analytics when it's people like Ramirez up or Divas or somebody like that? There's no analytics there. Just throw it out the window at this point, because it never works anyway for the Yankees. It just doesn't. The same hitters just hit them.
Yankees have never
The
been
what?
very analytical.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
they spend $1 trillion on analytics, and to me, sometimes you could just throw it out the window.
Well,
Put the lineup there.
The last person to make that work with all those numbers was Gene Michael. Gene Michael knew how to build a baseball team. He built the 90s.
yeah. But Gene
Yes.
Michael was an old school guy who played in the 50s and 60s.
Well, maybe
player,
the Yankees need some old school thinking, because what they have now is not working.
Well, we got Brian Sabian. That's pretty old school. And Omar.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Minaya.
no.
Listen, I mean,
Yeah, Minaya.
we're actually going crazy on one game, but it's these games that they give up one, they give up two, and they become 4, and then 8, and then 10, and this is what happens.
I think the Yankees already lost. The Yankees lost at least 2 games this year where they should have won. They lost one where they gave up 4 runs in the 9th, and they lost another one earlier in the season, I believe.
Well, getting off the for a couple of seconds, the latest. Let's go to the latest scores, guys. We have the Marlins 6-3 over the Reds. Well, they didn't score 24 runs tonight. It's in the bottom of the 8th inning. The Tigers are leading the Padres 6-4 in the top of the 8th. That Met pitching has been incredible. They're leading the Phillies 2-0, bottom 7. The Cardinals are leading the Atlanta Braves 3-2, bottom of the 8th. Houston and Toronto, top of the 4th, no score. Milwaukee and the Giants a little bit later on. And the finals, as we know, of course, the Guardians 6, the Yankees 4, and the Red Sox 4, and the White Sox 2. So that brings you to major league status at this point. But the overall night, I'm not grasping. What do you call our catcher? He's way off base. Too many swings and misses for Wells. I don't know. The patience is what are they going to do? Look at this all year long. I mean, he's just behind the pitches. He just goes up there. He's swinging at dirt. He's swinging up. He's swinging down. It looks like there's no game plan between him and Chisholm, and it's starting to show. And can you imagine if you had what do you call Stanton in there with all these strikeouts? You'd be scratching your head.
If I can give you more positive, some positives about this game that I saw a good at bats from Jason Dominguez and Oswald Cabrera.
Yes.
Yeah, and then
I think they had thinking of the positive side of this game, and of course there were very little. Those two guys, I think, have a very positive game, even though they lost.
Well, and then my other one is Reyes.
Go ahead.
Yeah, my other positive would be Pablo Reyes. I saw him battling at his bat, which, we were kind of like expecting him to really not provide much offense, kind of just be a hole. But I mean, he got hits, he got on, he battled every at bat, and then he held his own in right. I mean, I know he's kind of a Zobrist type player because they showed the spreadsheet of all the games he played in minors and majors and the different positions. But
yeah, they've got to do a better job. At the plate, too many holes, too many strikeouts. They're going to fall into that category. If they fall into that category, it is going to be a hassle to get into the playoffs. And I'm not just picking on this game because they lost the game and all of that. No, I'm not. But again, like I always say, you're never as good as you seem, and you're never as bad as you seem. And my problem, like I was screaming last year, is you've got to fix the problems that you have. I don't care if you win 10-0 every game for 2 months. The problems are there. We need to do something. They need to do something about these things. And, they did a little kudos to Gleyber Torres last year and all, but this is a habit that Austin Wells is getting into, that they're not going to be able to get out soon.
I think
and they're going to be batting.
I think they should consider giving Wells a little bit extra time, maybe an additional day off, and playing Escara maybe one extra day per week. Instead of, for example, if you have 7 games, you're playing Wells 6 of them. Maybe you play Wells 5 of them and have Escara play 2 of them.
Yeah, and then he just got off of food poisoning.
Yeah, so maybe give him a little extra time, play Escara. Maybe, as I said, maybe for this week, give him a little bit extra time of rest, play Escara a little bit more, and let him fully improve both mentally and physically.
It's incredible to say, but the lineup was calling for Trent Grisham. And how about if I would have told you guys in the wintertime, you guys would have said, what planet are you on? The lineup really needed Trent Grisham tonight. He probably would have made some type of difference.
Honestly, we had 10 hits tonight. We had 2 double plays that killed movement that we had going on the bases early in the game. Double plays kill rallies, and they did it to us this evening. 10 hits is nothing to put your nose up at. I mean, the Guardian pitcher, he had some heat, and he was located.
Yeah.
Tip your hat off.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, later in the game, goddamn Stephen Kwan, that diving catch that he made on Judge, excellent defensive player. He tends to hit the crap out of Yankee pitching, just like Ramirez does.
And
The
that
only
goes
bitch that
up
I
like-
have is that you don't pitch a left-hander inside down low. That is a power zone.
At that, I don't know
Mhm.
why that they did that.
I don't know.
Every
Maybe-
ball,
Yeah,
to, every
that's
ball
Get
to
away with it.
Ramirez should be either low and away, high and away, or high and in, not high and down,
Right.
The
not
Uh,
in and down.
You know.
I will tell you what, Yoendris Gomez too. He went 3 innings for us tonight. He saved the bullpen because that was about to be another McUgly freaking bullpen game, especially with
Mhm.
Schmidt. My prediction: 4 innings. What he pitched, 4 innings. His
Right.
plus on his game, he had 7 strikeouts tonight, but he did have I had him broken at a 4-4 split for walks and strikeouts. He had 7 strikeouts, 3 walks, so a little bit better
Okay.
on both of those counts. He did give up the 2 bombs. Of course, this is his second game back, going up
Yeah.
against a lineup that definitely has power.
Right.
He's still in spring training mode.
Yeah, well, look, give him another start. Maybe he will go 5 innings in this next start.
Yeah.
And
Well-
this is something we have to expect when Hill returns. When Hill returns, don't expect him to be a Rookie of the Year Hill. Expect him to be a struggling Hill. This is another thing. I don't want to see the fans just
Boo him right out the gate.
boo him right out of the gate if he struggles in the first game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
That's true. It's true.
No, and then like to Ken's point, the double plays got us. I mean, especially when we were in the first inning, 2 men on, nobody out, and what happens? We get into a double play.
Yeah.
Four,
Yeah, that was
six,
that
three.
was the
Play.
that was the Bellinger one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you notice the Yankees start the game off fantastic. First and second, the first 2 guys get on, and what's the percentage of when they're scoring? And when they don't score, they usually lose that game. It's disgusting. I mean,
Yeah,
you know,
they-
really.
When the Yankees are in that position, they probably have to be more selective. They shouldn't swing early in the count. That's another thing that I've noticed. Every time there's a runner in scoring position, they tend to swing at one of the first 2 pitches. Always.
Yep.
Right.
Maybe they have to be a little bit more selective.
Well, depending on
Yeah.
our third place hitter too. You know, Bellinger's not doing anything. I mean, he finally hit the ball in the air and he finally got an opposite field hit, but he's not helping any matters. He's got that uppercut swing. He's swinging and missing, and it's like he's just up there. You know, is there a game plan or what? I mean, what are you doing? Where's the game plan?
I think right now he's kind of pressing for his strategy, but he is known to be a slow starter in a season. And historically, but he'll get better. And I mean, he has had moments where his bats come through, and you can see that Bellinger that was the Cubs and with the Dodgers was, not quite MVP Bellinger yet, but like what made him so attractive. But then at the same time, you're seeing the struggling, and then you see him pressing when he's in clutch position or situations instead of just taking the veteran approach.
Right. Right.
Which you would
Yeah, no,
expect.
I agree. And I still rather have Bellinger than, of course, Alex Verdugo, because that was a total disaster, almost a total disaster.
Remember
and
JD?
Verdugo, he's doing okay with Atlanta, but I rather he can go over there and stay there. But
Or
Bottom
you
line
remember
is,
Joey Gallo,
who?
Josh Donaldson?
Oh, yeah. Do we really want to remember Joey Gallo? I
As
don't.
much as
Never wanted him to be good.
as much as people complain about Verdugo, without Verdugo's glove last season, we don't make the series. Can you imagine Dominguez
I
playing
need
out
to
there
step
for?
away for a minute.
Okay. Can you imagine
Hey,
Dominguez's
John,
defense
Dad.
out there for 75 games? There was a ball hit to him that analytics said 75% of the people catch, and Dominguez didn't.
Okay. Well,
I mean,
Yeah.
did Verdugo hit well for us? No, he didn't hit well for
No,
us.
no, but
his-
Ken, also he is our future, or try to be. But we knew Verdugo wasn't going to be our future. Maybe 1 or 2 years, if it was lucky. But our future, they are counting on Dominguez, Spencer Jones. They're not counting on Alex Verdugo. When he outspent his welcome in Fenway Park, you knew something was wrong there, because it's when you don't, with the manager, there was definitely a problem with Cora, and Cora has his ups and downs, but if you can't get along with him, then there's a big problem. Or you can't get along with Mr. Boone, but still, the bottom line is they had to do what they had to do, and of course with the Yankees and it's money and the cheaper option, of course they're going to go with Dominguez. They're not going to give Alex Verdugo 1 or 2 years for $30 million. They're just not going to do it. So
and we got Verdugo on the cheap. I mean, we only gave up what's his name with the W, with the weird foot, the pigeon toe.
well,
The pitcher,
yeah,
Weiser.
yeah. Well, Weiser, right? Yeah, he was okay, but nothing
okay,
really to write
but,
home about.
I mean,
But this year's team,
I really, I was going with, because my God, he's a doubles machine. Yeah, but we have to remember a lot of those doubles came off of the big, the Green Monster, and we don't have the Green Monster in Yankee Stadium, and that's why, an Alex Bregman is a perfect player for the Red Sox. I mean, in that stadium with his line drive to left fields all the time. That's a no-brainer. No-brainer.
he spent his career hitting at the Crawford box. You put that same bat in Yankee Stadium, he's flying out on the track.
Yeah.
The one
How many
player,
right-handed hitters didn't want to come to the Yankees because of left field?
Mm-hmm.
You got to think of that too.
I
left-handed.
I never wanted Joey Gallo to begin with, and there is one player that the Yankees traded that could have been very useful for them, which was Josh Smith. He was
He's the kid over in Texas.
Yeah. Josh Smith is tearing it up with Texas.
Josh Smith,
You know,
and
he's on the
if
money.
they had Josh Smith last year, they probably could have traded Gleyber Torres before the season.
Right.
Probably.
But the thing with the Verdugo too was that he was a guy that Judge wanted as well.
Well, sometimes Judge is not always right.
I know, right?
I mean, I know it's someone you like, but if he doesn't have the swing or I understand the point of getting players that you want to play with, but if that player can't be a good hitter in Yankee Stadium, what's the point? Just because your star player wants him?
Well, I think Judge was thinking he would help.
Yeah.
The Yankees this year are not last year's team. They are vastly different.
Yes.
Yes.
After we lost after we lost Soto, we went on an effort to improve defense, improve pitching, and limit the opponent's ability to score runs.
Do you think we succeeded?
For the
Yes.
most part, yes.
Yeah, for the most part, yes.
I think the defense.
Guys, I have an
That's a
update. I have an
significant-
update on scores. The New York Mets now lead the Phillies 5-0, top of the 8. Francisco Lindor's having himself one hell of a game. He just hit a 3-run homer, so he led off the game with a homer, and now a 3-run homer. So they're winning 5-0. They are battling on all cylinders, and if they pull a sweep here, then you know what? It's time to say that they really are a good team. I don't want to keep hearing, oh, they're playing nobody. They're playing nobody. Well, the Phillies are somebody. And if you put them to
Frankly,
rest,
Joe, I
Yeah,
don't give
go
a
ahead.
shit about the Mets. I couldn't care two squirts
I
about
don't.
them.
no,
If
I
I
know,
could-
but if we do
Wait.
have any, if we
I've
do
only
have
been
any
I've
Met
only
lovers,
been to the stadium one time. I've only been to Citi Field once, and that was for a Subway Series.
okay. I've been there at least
So-
10 times,
Well,
and I got to
For
tell
me-
you, the first time I walked in there in 2009, I was scratching my head, and as a matter of fact, I went on the Michael Kay show that time, because when I walked into Citi Field, was I at a Met game? I had no idea where I was. You go up the escalator, you see Jackie Robinson, all tapes and everything. You go over here, there's no Mets anything. The way you found a Met picture was way deep in right field by this Chase block, and you see Tom Seaver and Darryl Strawberry and Keith Hernandez. They're hidden. Where does it say Mets? There's nothing Mets. When I was going up the escalator, a little boy was asking his father, "Dad, who's playing? Who is that up on the screen? Is that a Met player?" No, that was a player that played in the 1950s. Well, why would they do that, Dad? This is exactly what he said. Why would they do that? I see nothing New York Mets. It makes no sense. So I went on, and I criticized them left and right. Now I know I no pull or anything, but literally 3 days later, you started seeing Met signs. You started seeing Tommy Agee someplace. You started seeing the banner of winning 69 and 86 and 69. So I mean that was I mean, you knew their old owners were big Dodger fans.
See,
But,
for
for
me,
I'm sorry.
for me personally, the Mets winning series is 86. How many years ago is that? 30 what?
39.
No, I hear you.
No, like,
30,
Listen,
yeah,
I'm not-
39.
39 years. When's the last time they put a Hall of Famer, a player that was one of their legits, into the Hall of Fame?
Not
Mhm.
for a while.
It hasn't been in 20 years. And I
they're
will tell
putting
you,
people
Who was the last one?
huh?
right.
Who was the
They're
last
putting-
one?
What about Gary Carter?
Right.
Gary Carter's
They-
not considered a Met, and I think he went into the Hall as an Expo.
Who
The
was
ca-
the last Met to go? Mike
Catcher, Gary
Piazza?
Carter.
Piazza's the last one, but I don't think he even went in as a Met. I think he went in as a Dodger.
So who was the
Well,
last
if you
one?
really want to get into it, how do you have a date? And nothing against the guy, one of the best players ever, but Willie Mays, he played what, 2 innings for you, and he came up in the World Series and struck out, and you put him, you have a day for him. You have the nerve to put it. I mean, there are people in there that it boggles my mind. I know, yeah.
And if
I mean, it's
and if
like-
you're posting pictures of Tom Seaver in there, Seaver was part of the Miracle Mets. Where'd he go after that? Oh, that'd be
Right.
Cincinnati.
Oh.
right.
Wasn't it on
So
the
you-
White Sox also?
Yeah, but
That
their
was probably
their
one of
news
the worst
is it.
fans.
Their franchise is built about shit that's over almost 40 years old. They got Juan Soto. That's why they're so damn excited, because they brought Soto in there. Oh yeah, Dave Kingman. He's the first freaking dude to strike out 200 times in a game. He's the embodiment of the new era. Hit 45 home runs, strike out 200 times, and still get paid.
And that's one thing. That's another thing I don't like. I don't like that baseball has accepted high home runs and high strikeouts from batters.
I mean, I look at
Right.
hitters like in my day, Tony Gwynn. Tony Gwynn would go through a whole season and strike out 10 times, 600 freaking at bats, and he
Same
strikes
with,
out 10 times in a year.
That's similar to Joe DiMaggio. Joe DiMaggio has almost as many strikeouts as almost home runs as strikeouts.
But the whole point, you know,
it-
that's a paradigm to shift to offense. I mean, you look at players like the Wizard of Oz. Couldn't hit worth beans, but he was one of the most fantastic freaking acrobatic shortstops in Major League history.
He's a Hall of Famer because of his defense.
Exactly.
No question. No question.
But
Oh,
you
yeah,
look
I
at
mean-
you look at a guy like Jorge Posada. Posada has numbers as a catcher that's comparable to damn near every catcher in the Hall of Fame. Posada didn't even make it one ballot before he fell off.
Yeah.
Thurman Munson. Why in the hell has the Veterans Committee not put him into the Hall?
He would have been a Hall
It
of
makes,
Fame.
it makes absolutely no sense.
I think Thurman Munson, what happened to Thurman Munson killed the 1980s for the Yankees. If Thurman Munson wasn't in that plane, the 1980s would have been very different.
Well, he was the pilot in that plane. So
I know, but if he didn't have that plane, if he didn't upgrade his plane, maybe he would have been different.
but
Right.
long and short, you know, we've won. They won in '86. We had our '90s dynasty, '90s/2000 dynasty. So I don't really care about the Mets. When the Mets freaking make it to the series again, then maybe I'll give them a look. But I'll tell you what, they signed Juan Soto. They have a decimated pitching staff. They hired our former closer to be one of their freaking elite starters this year.
Yeah, but Ken, right now they look like geniuses. Right now.
I don't even think the Mets have very much of a farm system anymore.
Oh, they got some good young pitching, but you know.
And then here it is. Since 1986, since they won it all in '96, they've only been to the
86.
World Series twice. 2000, lost in 5, and then 2015, they lost to the Royals.
Right. Well, listen, I've often said about the 2000 World Series, the Yankees were in a no-win situation for New York. If they won, they better have won. If they lost, it'd be like, oh my God, the mighty Yankees that won 2 years in a row lost to the New York Mets. That was a miracle to get, they played well. And the funny thing is that series, a couple of ex-Mets are the ones that hurt the Mets completely. Jose Vizcaino. The Mets had picked up all of these. No, he was with the Mets at that point. David Justice. Then he became a Met 2 years later.
Okay, yeah. David Justice.
David Justice.
Yeah, we said.
Yeah,
Actually, we said Justice to the A's.
Yeah, and then he went to the Mets because he was definitely a Met player, no question.
Yeah,
about that.
Yeah,
so,
Justice with the A.
I don't know. You
He also Dave for us. At some point, he did.
Right now, are the Yankees
well
still? I know Ken that totally believes the Yankees are still the big boys of the city. The Met fans will differ. and it's going to be interesting when we have the when we definitely have the Subway Series, because if the Mets cream the Yankees again, I don't think we'll ever hear the end of it.
Well,
So we better
I
be
know
prepared.
exactly
No.
what the Subway Series. Well, everyone will say, especially the me. Everything will be focused on Juan Soto in those 3 games. Everything.
It'll
Oh,
be Soto versus Judge.
yes.
But no, speaking of which,
Hopefully
I remember
Judge
the
is
Subway Series.
healthy. Hopefully Judge is healthy. That's the thing.
Yeah, I remember
these
the Subway.
For these Subway Series, that he's not healthy.
But yeah,
So
that
I'm
2000 World Series, I
worried
remember
about
because my friend, I had this family, friends or family. The whole family was Met fans, and I spent a lot of time at their, they were like, I was like 13, 14. So I would walk to school with my best friend, but I'd walk to their house first. So when that whole World Series happened, every game, if we won or we lost, I'd either come there and I do a little trash talk. But then the one game we lost, my best friend's mom, she'd go, "Well, how about the Mets?" As soon as I came through the door,
But,
and yeah, so
The only
this is one of my
time that
favorite-
I care about the Mets is during the Subway Series, and if we see them in the World Series. Past that, I don't care.
No, I honestly, the only time I watched the Mets was in the 2015 World Series when they weren't playing the Yankees. I watched them because they were a New York team, so I watched a little bit of it.
Well,
I don't know.
we'll start. As we get closer into the season, and hopefully the Yankees will be battling for that playoff spot. We're going to dedicate some time and a couple of shows on all of the teams that the Yankees may battle in the playoffs and may battle in the World Series. I think that would make we'd be a great panel. We maybe get 4 or 5 of us on at the same time, and we dissect every team and what to look for, what not to look for, all kinds of stuff. And I think it's going to be exciting. Getting ahead of myself a little bit, but like the trade deadline. I have plans, that day. And Jonathan, I'm sure, is going to be Johnny on the spot that day. We're all breaking any type of news, any type of trades. We're all going to be looking for that. So if I'm putting it out there to you guys now, I know it's a long ways away, but when you flick, before you know it, 4th of July will be here. And I'm putting it out there that we're going to have a really cool show that day, probably on to the time of the last trade announced. So it's going to be something to look forward to. And leading up to that, all the trade rumors, even though a lot of them are, it's just nice to go over what the Yankees are looking for. What do we think the other teams either ahead of us or behind us are looking for, and what has happened up until the trade deadline? Does anybody know? Did it go back to July 31st, or did we stay in August, or to the 30th? I did not. Unfortunately, I did not.
July 31st is the trade deadline, and August 1st is the
July
waiver.
31st is the deadline.
Is what?
July 31st is
What
the
is
trade deadline.
Okay, so they went back to the July 31st.
The reason why that one year was the first, because July 31st was on a Sunday. That's why they moved it. I think the trade deadline is always on the 31st, unless the 31st is on a Sunday.
Okay, and then they extended a
And
little bit because
there was in the past, the trade deadline used to be August 15th. I think 2 CBAs ago they reduced it to the 31st, and then they had a waiver deadline. In the last CBA, I think they got rid of the waiver deadline.
Right. No, but what I'm saying is the time of the day.
made the 31st a hard trade deadline, not instead of a soft trade deadline.
No, because I remember they would end at 3:00 in the afternoon. This year, I think they ended at 6. So they extended the trade deadline time for 3 hours, I guess, because of West Coast situations. And I think that's a good idea. 3:00, especially if you're that close to that trade that you really want, at least you have another 3 hours to work it out, But then again, you say you have all these days to make these trades or make these signings or, what you want to do. I mean, you're actually really, really waiting to the last until you're choking. So that, that's good. That's going to be, I'm really looking forward to a show like that. I'm looking forward to, breaking trade news, all kinds of stuff. And the Yankees went into a little roll while we've been on. Let's hope they come back with a big win tomorrow. What are your thoughts with Will Warren? Are you a little confident? Are you worried in that type of in that type of stadium? What do you see? Let's start with Ken.
Well, hell no, I'm not confident with Will Warren going on the bump. He is not had great stuff his last start. I mean, he lasted 1 2/3 innings. Only gave up 1 run, but walked quite a few people, gave up quite a few hits. And the team that we're facing, they are patient. They will take the walk, and they will let their big bats do the work for them. I think it's going to be a hard game. The pitcher that's coming up tomorrow is Tanner Beebe, and he is a solid pitcher. Hey, Steven, glad that you could join the stream. Appreciate it, brother.
Thanks, Steve.
It's vital that Warren actually gets some length out of there because we can't afford to burn the bullpen up. We have to be more patient at the plate. I mean, it's gonna be another one of those tough games. I wouldn't be surprised to see a 5-4 game when it's all said and done. But the thing that I look at, what is this? Game number 11 in a row without a day off. So the guys are a little bit tired. Could contribute to some of the hitting woes that we've had, some of the defensive miscues. Then we get a whole day off, and
a whole day off.
Yeah, we get a whole travel day off.
Thursday is the day off.
Yeah, and by the way, a little note on that. The Yes Network on Thursday night, if anybody has the Yes Network, they will be showing the Somerset Patriots game. So you'll get to see a Spencer Jones, and so that I'm looking forward to seeing that. Although I've been watching them on MLB.TV and keeping up with anything. Yeah, Stephen B is 100% right. Chaz should take the suspension and use it as a resting day.
Yeah.
But you know what? He hit a home run tonight. Does that kind of mean that he's ready? I don't know. But let's get that thing is going to be holding over our heads. He's not going to win that case, guys. I'm sorry. I don't care what he says. He could smooth Chasm all he wants. He's not winning that case. So just take the lump, take your 1-game suspension, and let's move on. Let's just move on.
One game, and you can use it as a reset day.
Yes.
But we have that Thursday off, and then we go back to our house, and we have the Blue Jays coming. So that's not an easy set of 3 games. Then we're back on the road, headed to Baltimore. Not an easy place for us to play. It's certainly not going to be a cakewalk. Then we come back to our house, and we face the Rays that are a very good team, and then we face the Padres in our house. Then, May is a horrible month for us. because we have two West Coast legs. We start out against the Athletics and the Mariners. Then we come back for the Subway Series against the Mets. Then we have Texas in town, who's playing good ball. Then we start our second West Coast leg, starting in Colorado. That's NFE's group is going to be meeting up at their stadium there. Then we face the Angels, who've been playing good ball. Then we face the Dodgers in their house. So we need to chalk up as many wins as possible because from here to the end of May is no joke.
If the Yankees can get through that period, that would be big telling. And it's funny, they're always the first week of May. They're 99.9 always in the West Coast for some reason, but they are beginning of May. So those are always sometimes horror shows for us. Once in a while, we'll have a great Western swing, but that's usually when the Angels are a good team, the Mariners are a good team. So and then they're not the greatest teams anymore. The A's, the A's are the A's. They have a little bit of pop, but you can't beat them.
Well, we played the Mariners last year, a 4-game set, and we split with them. They've got a great starting staff. They may not be able to hit worth a damn, but they can damn sure throw shutouts.
Yeah, I would have liked to make a trade with them involving Gleyber Torres a couple of years ago. One of their pitchers. I think there was a talk about a Torres for Brian Wu at one point that never went through, or maybe that was just speculation.
No, that was an actual legitimate trade, and then they wanted. I think Peraza in the deal also, or Everson Pereira.
Well, then I would have given them Pereira. Torres and Pereira for Brian Wu.
I know. If we only had a real crystal ball that will tell us, hey, this gentleman is not going to play good for the Yankees. Let's get rid of him. Unfortunately, that doesn't work.
Sometimes you need to cut your losses, and if it costs you a good player, right, that's now it might be better in the long term.
I still feel I don't care what this is and that we're going to get a third baseman. I don't care what anybody says, unless that trade deadline comes and goes. The Yankees are getting a third baseman, and that's it. And they said tonight about DJ LeMahieu starting the rehab. I mean, what we do? I'm so excited. I'm ready to go buy my tickets. I mean,
here's what's going to happen. The Yankees are going to go out, look for a third baseman. They can't find a third baseman, and all of a sudden LeMahieu will come back and play third base. That's my prediction of what's going to happen at the trade deadline.
Oh, God. Oh, Jesus. Can you imagine? Okay, ease up, man. Ground ball to second, ground ball to short, pop up, strike out. That's all you see. And then
you think the Yankees should just cut him after the season?
I would I would hope so. I would hope so, but I don't think they're going to do it. No way.
They don't want $30 million. They're eating $30 million anyway. The only difference between DJ and Stanton is starting next year, the Marlins pay part of Stanton's contract.
Stephen B., that's pretty cool. DJ's nickname is DJ Leg Ground Out. Let's ground out. I love it. Listen, he was awesome for us the first couple of years. But there's no, he's, I don't know, maybe he'll come back. Maybe the Yankees know something a lot more than we know. He
hasn't had a healthy season since he signed that contract extension.
What? Remember this.
That happens a lot with the Yankees doing extensions. They do that a lot.
I'm here to tell you that at the trade deadline, if y'all are anticipating a big move, you're going to be very disappointed.
I
Because
don't expect a big move.
if we're picking up a player, it's going to be a fringe player, probably for a low-level prospect, somebody who may come in and help the bullpen out some. It won't be a starter. If we're thinking third baseman, I'm not seeing it.
I would expect the Orioles to make a bunch of trades more than the Yankees.
Well, they have to get some pitching. They have to get pitching. There's no question about it.
I think the Orioles will be very busy.
But the Orioles have a very deep farm club.
Exactly.
They have a lot of prospects that truly don't have a path to the major leagues, and they can separate them.
Be busy.
And they can separate them for pitching. But any team that does what the Padres did last year to get 3 months of Tanner Scott is freaking insane. They traded their first, second, third, fourth, and 25th ranked prospects for a 3-month rental.
Well, that wasn't a good idea.
Well, listen, we're going to go in the chat. I'd like to hear, everybody's coming out now and with the starting pitching. Either John or John the Beagle Dad. Somebody, who would you want? Who do you want? Who do you think would be available? And would it hit our structure as far as, don't forget now, every time you get a player that has a lot of money on there, it's double and triple to the Yankees. So if their contract is $20 million, they're really paying $40 million for that contract now because we're over the cone threshold. So what would be something that would interest you at this point? And please, everybody, I don't want to hear Trevor Bauer. I'm not even gonna put that in the comments. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to know it. I want him nowhere near the New York Yankees team, and you could take that to the bank.
What interests me is if Luis Hill comes back and pitches like a rookie of the year pitcher. Because
Right.
the Yankees lost a lot of capital in the last 2 years due to trades and Rule 5 draft picks. They have a depleted farm system. Nobody wants to trade for with the Yankees. They need to rebuild the system.
Yankee
As
tax
soon
is
as
real.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Well, honestly, you're going to look at pitchers that are available. If the Diamondbacks are faltering, Zach Gallen is on the last year of his contract. They may move him for a prospect. I think the team that would legitimately move a pitcher would be the Mariners, and I think they're trying to move Luis Castillo's contract. Effective pitcher still. At the point in the trade deadline, he's signed this year for $22 million. So you're talking halfway through the season. So he'll have about $11 million or so remaining on his contract. Times the two, that would put us paying $22 million for his services, plus 2 more years. The White Sox have spent all their BBs, so they don't have a pitcher to trade. The Angels may be faltering, may have a pitcher to trade, but I don't think any one of them is worthwhile. I would never trade for another A's pitcher, although they may have Severino available at the deadline.
Yeah, I don't want Severino back.
Well, you may not want him, but is
You're probably
Severino
going to hear
better than Carrasco, Stroman, and Warren?
Maybe.
Yes.
Maybe Stroman.
Probably.
But also, can
No,
Severino pitch well enough to pitch in New York again?
Well, he pitched last year in New York, and he did quite well.
Yankees.
Another
but
name you're going to
he can
definitely is a Sonny Gray, and I don't want him back. But he's definitely going to go somewhere. He's the same regardless.
Gray couldn't take the pressure in New York to begin with, and
Right.
Him coming back isn't going to be any better. The only time he pitches well in the Bronx is when he's facing us.
Right.
Yeah.
No, you're totally
That's a
correct
lot
on
of-
that point. Sure.
Andrew Heaney's did the same thing.
Yeah, screw him.
Let's.
I couldn't give two
Don't get me
squirts of
started
pee
on that guy.
Let's see.
No, but
Yeah.
Sandy
the Padres
Alcantara,
have.
Yeah, Wednesday is a day game with Rodon pitching.
Yep. Alcantara, everyone who needs a frontline starter is going to be on him, and we do not have the capital and prospects to even think about making that trade.
Marlins are going to want the farm for that. They're going to want.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to want.
And plus, they're not going to put his salary on there.
No.
Even if they took Spencer Jones and Peraza and Yobot and the Yankees won't do that. If they're gonna get anybody, they're gonna do a third baseman. That I am totally believe. If they're gonna get pitching right now, they're thinking they're gonna get Eelback. They might get somebody that like a fourth or fifth starter, but they're definitely not going to spend a ton of money on another starter unless it's the off season, and they take money off money off of everything, and somebody had mentioned already the Yankees are at 281 million starting next year, and that's just getting rid of a few players.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
my
But
call.
Hal understands that it's a different era now. You got to go up, and now he went from no 200 million. He went to 2. Then he went to 250. Then he went to 3. You know what? He's going to have to go to maybe 3.25, 350 now.
Well, the payroll is one reason why it's possible that we see Lombard at third base next year. Maybe not to start the season, but during the season.
Yeah, but the way for Lombard to make it to the majors is we've got to promote him to Double-A soon.
Well, I think he will be promoted this year. I'm talking about next year, not this year.
Well, you need to have him take triple-A at bats too. You want him to have close to 200 swings at AAA for him to come up here and actually be effective. 200 at bats means that
Stephen B.
he's sitting in Scranton by no later than the middle of July for a possible September call-up.
Right.
Next
but then
year.
There's no question that
Stephen B. mentioned Montgomery.
Montgomery had Tommy John surgery last month, and he is on the shelf for a year.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but somebody like Monty, that caliber of that reliable lefty 4 or 5 starter.
Yeah,
when we traded Monty wasn't even going to make our postseason roster.
But then he went and won the World Series.
If you look at the trade deadline, what you're doing is you're constructing a postseason roster. What you need for a 7-game set is 4 solid starters. How many do we actually have right now?
2.
Okay, 2.
Yeah.
We bring Heel back. That's possibly 3.
Maybe 4.
Who's 4?
and then
Depending
it's
on what you
pick what you want. Is basically what it is. If
Schmidt evens out, if Schmidt evens out to being reliable like he was last season, with that 5.2 innings, less than 4 runs a start, You could have him as your 4 starter.
Smith's not a big game pitcher. Look at his World Series performance last year. Got hammered.
The one thing the Yankees will
yeah.
have.
No, I'm saying, but
If they're
so right
healthy.
now we got Freed because Cole's out until next season,
Right.
and then we got
And
Rodon,
So June.
and we got Hill.
Right.
Yeah, if Garrett Cole is in the lineup, there's your 4. No need
Yeah,
for a move. But we don't have Garrett Cole.
Next year.
Right. Yeah, at least till May or
But I mean,
June.
out of the other 3 starters on our current roster right now,
Well,
which
The
one
other
would you
pla-
trust
the other
more in the
player-
playoff situation?
another player I see being called up this year, I see Spencer Jones in the majors sometime this year.
I can't see it.
That's fine.
Not before
No,
September.
In September, yes. Not before September. I
Well,
think
they'll
he has
only do it as if
to be called up in
they need,
September.
unless, right, but they'll only bring him up. It's if they didn't need anything else. I mean, if they need a relief pitcher or something, they may call up someone else. That will mean much more to them in the playoffs and want to see what this guy has than bring up Jones. Because remember, you can't just bring up what you used to, like 15 guys. You're only limited
Yeah,
to
you
what
got
3 at most.
2. You have 2.
2. Okay, so it's 2.
Yeah.
So you have to
I-
pick very.
I also
well,
think they need to expand that back to 30 or 32, not 28.
well,
I understand not having 40, but 28 is not enough.
well, we
And that's
you know,
probably something that will be
Respect
probably
this.
talked about during the CBA negotiations this year.
Yeah.
right.
Team
Oh,
don't
there's
like-
got to be a lot of talk in there. That's why there's a good possibility we may have a strike next year. I mean, I hope not. We have a lot of issues. There's a lot of issues, and that we'll definitely get into as we get closer, or we'll discuss. But I do want to say, we're a little over an hour in the cast, and I just think let's put everything to rest a little bit.
Yeah.
Get ready for tomorrow's game and pregame, and I so much want to thank everybody. Final thoughts, Sean, you go first.
Yeah, final thoughts is I know we lost the game. We dug ourselves in a hole we couldn't dig out, but we'll get them next time. We'll have a revenge game tomorrow. We'll come out fighting.
All right, and we'll do up, and hopefully you'll join us tomorrow, and you'll give your predictions. Jonathan?
Tomorrow's game will be about Warren. Warren is in control of tomorrow's game. If he pitches well from the start, we have a chance to win that game. If he does another 2 or 3 innings, then tomorrow's game will be a very difficult game. Warren has to give innings and pitch well tomorrow.
Okay, that's fair enough. Ken?
I agree with Jonathan. That's something that I said earlier. Is Warren is the linchpin. Hopefully, we have an umpire that's not squeezing the zone on him.
Warren
He
is the
has
linchpin.
stuff that's capable of being successful. Tomorrow's temperature in the stadium is going to be 65 degrees at game time. Did you see that 17-mile-an-hour wind carrying those home run balls out today?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yes.
that 17-mile-an-hour wind tunnel is going to be there tomorrow too.
Stephen B., thank you for the great shutout. Great show. I really, really appreciate that. It's people like you and all and everyone else that makes it possible. And eventually, it would be nice.
I seen that
John.
one that was carrying. Are you talking about the one flyby or one of the home runs that was just kept carrying?
Yeah, that was the what the hell is that guy's name? He's their home run leader. He hit it up into that jet stream, and that ball just kept going.
Ramirez.
Manzardo.
Manzardo, yeah.
Yeah, Manzardo hit that one into the upper atmosphere, and I thought it was going to come down on the track, and it just kept going and going and going. I was like, oh shit.
And then also Wednesday's game is going to be a daytime game. I believe it's 1:10.
1:10.
Okay.
1:10 on Wednesday.
We'll definitely be on around 12:15 for that pregame, but we still got to go through
I
tomorrow.
won't be available at that time. That's too early for me to be on
Okay.
pregame. I
But
still work.
everybody's like I said, I send out the links, and everybody's welcome. Whoever like to jump in, be my guest. Each and one of you, I treasure your thoughts and everything. So thank you for that. But in ending, everyone, thanks again for listening. Please press that like button, subscribe so you don't miss
afternoon game at
right. And also tomorrow morning, as you know, I do a quick update. Anything that's happening overnight, if there was any trades, anything, of course, from the Yankees or baseball in general. So I give a little shout out at about 8 o'clock in the morning usually, and I will also tell everybody when we'll come on for our pregame, which right now I would say about 5:15, as we usually. We want to be consistent before the game to give you guys a chance to talk about it, listen what's going on, and then get ready for the game. Like this, you could have dinner, you could be with the family a little bit. So we try to help every situation as possible. So guys, in turning, again, I want you to thank you. I want you to please have a good night, a safe night. Love everyone, love your family. Give shout out to everyone, and let's tell the Yankees, let's go Yankees tomorrow, okay? Go Yankees.
Yankees.
Good night, guys.
Yes,
thank you again. Good night, Ken.
See you
Take
tomorrow,
care.
Ted.
Bye.
You got it. See you later. Oh, I do. Oh, I'm sorry, Ken. Before I go, are you doing a show tomorrow at 10 a.m. at the Ugly Truth?
Yep, we'll be out at 10.
Shout out to Ken. Everybody, please go and watch at the Ugly Truth. He does a fantastic job. He puts you on. He always puts the link on, and listen to him, and that will lead us into the pregame show. How's that?
I might have 10 minutes, like always. But Thursday I will not be free.
Well, you know what?
If the weather is
Jonathan,
fine.
we'll do the opposite. You're always breaking on this show. Well, I'm going to break it on Ken's show. How's that? Because you're not going to one-up me, man. There's no way you're going to run one up on me. So
I send
guarantee
everything to Jason first. So everything I know, he knows.
Okay, but don't tell
That's
my
right,
fans.
Jonathan is Jason's minister of valuable information.
Well, I'm going to be your valuable information. How's that? Let's see who's better, Jonathan. No, Jonathan. I like our ribbing together is a lot of fun. But in all honesty, you're a great guy and a great contributor to New York Yankee Mania, and I really thank you a lot. So good night, everyone. Again, enjoy the night. Let's go Yankees. We're still in first place. That's what matters. The season ended tonight. We go to the playoffs, baby. That's what it's all about. Good night, everyone.
Good night.